Welcome back to my Fire Emblem Engage LTC run. This is John's Paralogue. This clear is pretty simple, despite it being a rout map. The enemy density and stats are relatively low, so almost all our units are able to meet 1 RKO thresholds.
Your steward's ready.
This map has been available to play since the end of Chapter 5, but we're playing it now to utilize a ton of new resources that were not available at the time. We also can't really play this map later, except after Chapter 9 I guess. The enemies in this map are fairly spread out, so we need a lot of mobility to reach them all in one turn. We start by Micaiah warping most of our combat units to the center of the map, and then have them split up. Citrinne with Warp Ragnarok will take on the top right corner. She decimates all enemies in this map with Seraphim, including the boss who is actually fairly bulky otherwise. She is also fully accurate, as being a sage lets her bypass enemy terrain bonuses, while benefiting from them herself. Her survivability is okay, mostly thanks to her avoid. Amber takes on the bottom right corner, grabbing the ever-important energy drop. Unfortunately, he needs to dodge the Cavalier on enemy phase to avoid being broken. While Axes may seem suboptimal on Amber due to this, he needs it for later maps, and he needs the movement of Paladin now. On the bottom left, Louise grabs the defense tonic. The item itself is not important, but closing the village forces the bandit enemy to attack Alir, as he would normally go after the village otherwise. The center of the map is covered by Alir, Vander, and Diamant. He's reclassed in this map to Sage in order to have access to 1 to 2 range combat and to have staff rank for the upcoming maps. And of course to flex. Diamant is statistically a pretty mediocre unit that circumstantially sees a lot of usage in this run. He has a high base SP of 800, allowing him to inherit Cantor cheaply. He can promote immediately, and his stats are barely good enough to perform various filler roles, such as in this map. His inferior bulk to Roy Vander also forces the archer to target him, while allowing Vander to deal with one-range enemies. Vander and Alir easily won around enemies in the center using Roy and Marth rings respectively. Although these enemies are low level and grant barely any XP, Alir with Mercurius gains just enough to hit level 10, allowing her to promote now. The remaining enemies suicide into Citrinne. She intentionally stayed at a low bond level with Celica such that she would not lose HP to Resonance. She still needs to dodge a hit here though, with or without an HP tonic. The reward for completing this map is John, a new unit that will directly contribute to a couple turn saves in this run. His access to beast saves at base is critical, as it saves us from having to rig an additional Master Seal and Second Seal to give somebody else this ability. After Citrinne kills the last enemy, the map is cleared in 1 turn. Up next is Chapter 9. This one is a pretty quick defeat boss map. Alir is now promoted and reclassed into Griffonite permanently for staves and better mobility. She does not need more XP for a while, so she will be delegated to utility roles while Citrinne takes over for combat. We start by placing 2 obstructs adjacent to Jade. When we use the Micaiah warp, Amber's destination changes because we try to warp him onto a tile that's already occupied. When the game sees that, it moves him to an adjacent tile. Since we obstructed down and left, the only vacant tile is to the right, pushing Amber forward and just close enough to reach the boss. Normally, you don't really need to do this, but a consequence of reclassing Alir earlier than usual is that our rewarp range is reduced. Instead, we have Fran perform the warp so that Alir can move forward and provide support for the boss kill. This map has a quick but important side objective to obtain a Spirit Dust in the top right corner. Vander gets this easily using Override, and then canters up to stay out of the boss's attack range. The boss of this map is Ivy again, but this time she doesn't have the leaf ring because we do, so she's a lot less bulky. So much so that Citrinne is able to straight up one-shot her with Warp Ragnarok while adjacent to Alir. I will say, this is one of the things that sold me on Sage over Mage Knight as Citrinne's class choice, since the damage multiplier here is really nice. Amber then chips the boss in order to feed the kill to Citrinne on enemy phase. It is important that Amber uses Roy here. Roy's Rise Above gives him enough movement to reach the boss, and enough bulk to survive 2 counterattacks. Additionally, Amber is using Micaiah Engrave Hand Axe, and Citrinne is using a Roy Engrave Thunder, so Ivy sees much higher expected damage on Citrinne and targets her instead.